You're tuning to Vocalo Radio, Chicago's favorite urban alternative. I'm your host, Biko, and alongside me, I got a very special guest. I mean, this lady is a very talented singer, songwriter. She used to spit some bars too. I know she still got it in her. Man, I bumped into her a long time ago and we've reconnecting. She goes by the name of Tink. How you doing?
I am good. Thank you. Yes, it's good to talk to you and reconnect with you again.
You were like one of my first introductions to the Chicago music scene when I was doing music and I had locks. And you were like one of the first artists to give me a chance, an opportunity, you know? So definitely want to
Yeah,
give you your flowers on that.
yeah, that means a lot too. Like I just remember for a long time, like you were like the first brand that definitely like was making noise in the Shy. So congrats on everything you've been doing too.
Look, congrats to me, congrats to you, Miss Lady. Like seeing
Thank
how far you've gone since the beginning of time, from little Tink to big Tink.
you.
It's been a very proud moment.
Yeah, and that's like a lot of people in Chicago have seen me since I was about 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
So you all have really witnessed like my full journey. So
Yeah,
this is a you right here.
definitely remember the high school days when you was, repping the movement. Since the high school days, of course, you've grown. And let's actually talk about like the time of your beginning state, as far as when you remix Chief Keef's 300 freestyle. That
Yeah.
around that time, it was a big deal for Chicago because Chicago had a wave of artists, talent coming from the city, and you were already, putting out you already putting out music on the singing side, and then boom, you remix and showcase your talent as far as the bars, and it picked up steam.
That was like you know, the start of my, growth in the city because I was dropping mixtapes, like you said. I had like R&B rolling out, but when Keith kind of like, I guess he tweeted it and it went viral. I feel like a lot of people started tuning in at that moment.
Were you shocked to see that, a freestyle from you would be a moment for, your career?
Of course, of course. You got to remember, this is like 2012. So Keith was the biggest thing ever. Like in Chicago, Keith was the GOAT. So just to see him tweet anything, it was, it had me on like 100. So it was a big deal.
I gotta know though, during now's time, how do you and Keith have a relationship at all?
No, we don't. Honestly, I've never met Keith, but it's always love. Like, how you kind of like support people through the gram or, through socials. I've never met him though, but that's still my dog. I feel like, Keith is in LA, I believe. So I haven't seen him.
What? that's that's crazy to hear.
Chicago artist I never met. But it's all love. Him doing that tweet really like it really put a light on me. So it's all love, forever love.
Man, that's crazy to know that y'all have never met face to face, but the power of social media.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to jump into a time where you really transcended when you linked with Timberland. I remember that time because it was a big moment. I mean, of course for you, but I feel like for the city, seeing where you came from, seeing how you've elevated, and you link with Tim and signed a deal with Epic. For you, was that something that you always wanted to do as far as like what your music career was, signed? I want to say a big deal like that.
Yeah, I think early on when I was first coming up, the dream was like to be signed for everybody. That was like the biggest thing ever, being signed to a label. So of course that was my dream early on. I felt like that was the end all. Like once you're signed, everything is kosher and like, you at the top if you sign. So back then I didn't know no better. And, that was kind of like the biggest thing. So it was a big deal, of course. It's Timberland, it's Epic, and that deal was honestly, I feel like to me, that deal kind of like gave me so much insight on the industry.
Mhm.
I needed to go through everything I went through, over there at Epic. Um, so yeah, it's like a gift and a curse.
What's something you feel like you needed to go through to get to where you're at now through that, through dealing with that situation?
To me, it just showed me like, man, my creativity and my vibe, like everything that I had built prior to being signed, it was valid. And, when you sign to a label, you kind of, you have to bend a little for the people, in the office. So it just gave me that, that confidence, like, man, everything I was doing before I met the label was amazing. So
Mhm.
to me, it just put me like in control again. And I tightened up my business. I went and got, better attorneys, better management, everything across the board I had to tighten up. So it just taught me a lot.
Now, Million, drops, right? You don't really hear a lot of people remixing Aaliyah's music with the consent of the fam and things of that nature. And you work on Million with Tim. It gets put out. It does phenomenal. It lands on every single station. I hear it play all the time. We still play it to this day. It got good feedback. It got negative feedback. But I feel like nobody really understood what Tink was going through at that time. So what type of like headspace were you going through, if you remember, when you released things?
I was really hurt behind the backlash because, man, I was so honored and I felt like, this was something so like special for me as an R&B artist. Aaliyah is like the GOAT. I looked up to her growing up. She was one of my idols. So, it was done out of love and respectfulness. And I was really crushed when people were like, I guess feeling the way behind it. But all in all, I think it was just the simple fact they wanted to make sure that like Aaliyah's people were good and that they were like approving of everything.
Mhm.
So I can understand that like we sensitive about, our idols. So I do get it.
Is there still a mutual understanding amongst you and Aaliyah's family?
It was never anything, negative. We actually cleared it. So, we always had like approval and they were always in good standings with Tim. So
To know that you've worked with Tim, one of my favorite producers. It always seems to amaze me. You stay linking with great producers such as Hitmaka, you know, from Chicago. You from here, like y'all bond. To me, it's inseparable. Like, do you feel like partly the reason towards that bond was because of y'all both is from an area together that that's built on talent?
absolutely. Hitmaker is like probably one of the only producers I really like chop it up with. I'm very guarded. So with him being from Chicago, when I met him, we instantly just kind of clicked. It was like easy to talk to him. He understand my language, my slang, the ideas, the vibes I want to create in the music. Yeah, that definitely play a big part. Like I think people from Chicago, we're so like we just have a nature about ourselves. And like when
Mhm.
we meet outside, it's always love. So hell yeah.
And actually, previous to even meeting Hitmaker, you were on a slight hiatus after the deal with Epic, and you were quiet, and then you rose back on the scene in 2019, and since then you just been rolling and rolling and rolling. How was
Yeah.
it for you to get back on the scene, and also is Hitmaker also part of that process that got you back out there?
I was actually releasing albums and having, real success before I met Hitmaker. But I just feel like when I went independent, when I had like full control, I signed with Empire in I want to say 18 or 2019. But I was able to release the music that I wanted to drop. I was able to put like my videos together. I just marketed, I was able to market it better because I'm like, I'm in control of this now. And that was the only difference. I feel like when I went on hiatus, it's because I couldn't release music. I was frustrated. I
Mhm.
had to get an attorney, I had to make some real legal decisions. And once I got cleared of my deal, it was like the world was in front of me. I was so grateful that I got out because a lot of people, they go through situations and it's hard to get out of your, your paperwork or
Mhm.
whatever the situation. So man, when I got a second opportunity, I took advantage and instantly, I dropped the EP. Then I came with the album. I just started working hard.
What was your biggest focus after, you took your break? What was like that biggest focus for you to make your comeback?
I had to get my name, like I had to get my name hot. I felt like I still was like riding off of the success of the mixtapes, but I wanted like my music to be more mainstream. So, I started really like putting together, I guess you could say I was trying to make hits. But for me, my main focus was like, man, I gotta keep dropping, keep dropping. Like every year I've released an album. It's not a year that's gone by that I haven't dropped something. So after the hiatus, I'm like, I'm finna overload them with music.
You got voicemails, hopeless
Right?
romantic. Uh oh man, you
Pleasure.
definitely painted pleasure up. And it was another project you dropped last year.
So Heat of the Moment was the first album with Hitmaka.
Okay.
And yep, that was the first album. And it really did better than anything I could have imagined. We followed up with Pillowtalk this year.
Now you said it did better than anything you could imagine. Like,
Yeah.
what does that mean? What happened?
I feel like when I met him, I was just coming out of my situation is so different from when I'm working alone or when I'm working with Hitmaker.
Mhm.
I'm used to kind of keeping my music really like, I guess, guarded, and I like to take my time with each song. So when I met him, his process is so different. He makes like 10 songs, 10 to 20 songs a day. He also works with about 10 people in the studio. So it was just a lot of like different things that I was learning and trying. So I didn't know what the album, I didn't know how it was gonna hit. But of course I was in love with the album and I knew it was heat, but it's like you never know when it's different or a different process. So I was nervous, I was excited, but I was like, man, I hope they enjoy it and they still, they still can they gravitate to it.
Yo, I feel like your fans, me as one, I'm a fan. I feel like your fans and supporters has always stuck by your side, like through
They are,
your downs and ups.
man, they are so different and so loyal too. I feel like when I took the hiatus, I was so worried, like, man, do they still want to hear this? Do I need to go and change my name? Or, you just have those thoughts like, is this, still relatable for them? Um, but they've been supportive the entire way. And that's what's so crazy. I got a really loyal fan base.
Think I just heard you say change your name.
As an artist, we have thoughts. It's like, man, every day it's like you just have thoughts about what you're doing and you're always like people always judging your every move. So I was thinking about it like, man, should I just reinvent everything and come back? It was a thought for real.
Wow. I couldn't imagine you being nothing other than Tink. I'm sorry.
You never know. I think as an artist, man, we always reinventing ourselves. Like I know for me,
Mhm.
every year I like try to, I gotta be different than last year or better.
I feel like you've gotten better and better and better. Like wine. Wine gets better every year.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's you.
Yeah, thank you. And I feel that too. I feel like, man, y'all have watched me for so long. So you've seen all the bumps, the highs, the lows, baby Tink to adult Tink. It's crazy.
The maturity level is off the rip, yo. I
Thank
salute
you.
you on that.
Past few years, I just feel like I've really matured in so many ways. Like being independent, I got so much like responsibility now. Is like such a different version of myself now.
Now, Pillow Talk, right? It's out now. I want to talk about the defining. Like, I want you to define Pillow Talk because the way I think about Pillow Talk is
Mhm.
different than your actual meaning behind things.
Pillow talk is like it's a sexy vibe. It's a more sultry side of Tink. And it's really like that dialogue with you and your partner, or you and your for the ladies, you and your man. So to me, pillow talk is how you feel at night, right? Right before you go to bed with somebody or right before you hang up the phone.
Mm.
It's those intimate conversations or intimate moments, you know.
Okay, we got the same meaning. Cool. I
Yeah,
thought mine was gonna be far left.
no, point. Definitely a pillow talk, a night vibe.
My lady, her favorite record off of Pillow Talk is Catered to You. She's, her
Uh,
love language is service. And that record it does something to her. And anytime I hear it, I'm like, yo, this is a dope record with you and 2 Chainz. And then you got Hitmaka on the production. I gotta know, who idea was that? Was that your idea? Was it a collective idea?
it actually, I guess I kicked it off. Hitmaker just asked me to make a list of songs that I really loved. And Beyonce, Destiny's Child, I grew up playing them all day. So that was on the list, and he came through with the sample and the beat. And I feel like I cut it in Miami. I cut it in a day. And 2 Chainz was just ready to go. I feel like we sent it to him, and he immediately like, I'm fucking with it. And I was real grateful for that. That's a legend in my eyes. So it was a very like swift process. That record just came like natural.
Studio sessions in general, like how is it working with Hitmaka on Pillow Talk?
Yeah, studio sessions with Hitmaker, like I say, his process, he has like all the, tools you need. It's a group of people ready to play keys, bass, guitar. But throughout the album, we would just run to Miami for a week at a time. And the way I like to work, I like to be in the studio by myself, and he'll have like a separate studio. So he'll be back and forth, and I'll be sending him what I'm doing, and he'll send me what he's working on. So by the end of the night, we got like a bunch of records done. But that's the thing, it's fun working with Hitmaker. He's from Chicago. You know what I mean? We vibe very well. It's fun now. It's not like a job.
People don't understand it, man. When you say it's fun, it's not like a job. That's what makes what you do so much more worthy.
That's it. It make a whole difference. I used to, some people, they dread going to the studio. I love to be in the studio. Like, I feel like that's where I'm comfortable. That's where we making our bag. So I love it.
I heard stories of how like you would kick people out of your studio sessions because you just like to record. You like to record by yourself.
Oh, I'm dead. You know what? Honestly, as an R&B artist and a female, I like to have my studio clear. I know the rappers, it's easy for them to like link up and have like 50 guys in the studio. But I don't know. I like mine peaceful, candles, low lights.
That sounds like a studio session I want to be in.
Yeah, I love to make a vibe, and I like to like be able to think clearly. So
yeah, that's I probably I can already see you telling me to get out.
I'm crying.
Pillow Talk is out. What's one of your favorite records? I don't want you to be cliche and be like all of them. Like, what's that record that stuck with you that, really did something to you when you was writing it?
For me, I think it's Ghetto Love. I know it's Ghetto Love. Me and G Herbo have a song on the album. And I really love the song for his verse. I feel like, man, just hearing him talking his Chirac tone, whatever we want to call it. No, but the song is just so fire, and I relate to it because it's so Chicago, and I make a lot of music. So when I hear a song, it feel like 2012, 2013. I get attached to it.
That's not your first time working with Herb. I mean, you worked with Herb and Bibby before,
Yeah, we have a few records. That's what's crazy. When we were coming up, we were always in the studio together, and we would always collab. So Herb has always shown love. I feel like he's one of the goats of the city. I put a lot of respect on Herb name.
As you said, like when you love making music where it brings you back to that 2012 or, back in time. What's something you miss about the past?
I feel like in the past, my music was definitely like triggering. It's so like we gotta watch everything we say now. I feel like as we was letting it fly and I was just able to express everything, and I think now music is just really sensitive. So I do miss that aspect, like being more free and like if people were nitpicking every bar you wrote and turning it against you.
Do that make it harder for you as an artist to write? Like, do it in a way put you in a creative box, or do it make you, be more creative?
So I try not my best not to like let it restrict me because you want your music to feel like real. But at the same time, it's so hard. Like nobody want to get canceled or nobody want to rub the wrong people wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like even, Beyonce has taken out lyrics from her album. So I feel like we all have a responsibility once you're, on a different level with it. So yeah, you do have to be mindful.
So you work with Hitmaker, right? And
Yes.
then you work with another legend. Babyface puts out his Girls Night album,
Yeah.
and he connects with some dope women within the industry, including yourself. Y'all link up for whatever off his latest album. So for you, how was it linking up with
Man,
a legend?
that I feel like that one really like struck me different. You know, Babyface, my mom is like the biggest fan of him. So the whole house and the whole family was like ecstatic. But the process was so easy and so simple. I overthink everything about him. And it was like, man, I was so nervous because he's such a legend. And I know, when you walk into his studio, you see about like 20 Grammys lined up. So the pressure was on. I really like, I really was sweating. But when I met him, man, he's such a cool guy. And working with him, we worked for 2 days on the record. And it was just an easy experience working with him. I was so surprised.
I'm happy you brought that up. You went to his studio.
Hmm.
What was that session like?
Yeah, he has a studio in LA. It's his own personal studio. So when you come in, he has like this big photo of his face. It's super like organic. It's real bossed up though. But he got like 20 Grammys lined up in front of the picture. But yeah, it was a great time. Like he's very easy going, and supportive too. Like I feel like everything I wanted to do with the record, he was like, go for it. So it was a great, easy one.
Did he reach out to you, or did like the team reach out to him to make that work?
Yeah, he actually reached out to me, and a lot of people don't know I was the last person to like basically tie up the album. So that meant a lot to me because they opened it up. I feel like they had finished the album, and then he reached out and was like, we want to do one more. So it was real special, real special.
Shout out to Babyface.
Yeah, that was very major.
I got to get into DJ Reese too, because man, DJ Reese is a very genuine guy.
My boy rocking since day one, literally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had to bring him up because like you said, he's been rocking with you since day one. He's been supporting, hosting the Winter Diary mixtapes, doing what he does. Been on tour with you several times.
Yeah.
How was that having a DJ that's tapped in, be behind you?
Man, it means everything. That support from a DJ or your DJ is the best. They at the clubs. He's on radio, and that really helps your records when you got somebody that's down to help you promote you. And like you say, Reese has been my DJ since I've first started. I've never had another DJ. So we go way back. We got a lot of history, and I'm always excited to see him, excel working with Dirk. It's just, he's having a great year. So I'm proud of him.
Y'all had a great year. The year's ending, but y'all been having a great year. And one thing Reese said, he miss when you get on your rap-ish. Can we see Tink get back on her rap-ish?
You know what? I feel like, man, here's the thing. I still rap, and y'all know I rap. It's just, I think people want the drill rap. I think that's like the difference. It's like now I think my rap is more like, I guess it's not as drill. Um, but you know, you never know with me. I do have some records like in the cut that could really turn some shit up. But I'm just enjoying this R&B wave. I think I get a lot of support for my R&B. Um, so you never know. Don't count me out. Like I still rap, you know, every day I'm in the studio rapping. It's just not drill. So I think people also don't know though, like, man, I was rapping when I was 15. So I just think like now, like with maturity and just with life, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm my mindset is totally different too. Like I was really like 15 in the streets of Chicago. You know what I'm trying to say? Like in the city, moving around over east, out south. So it was a lot easier to get on like that. But now it's like I think I've elevated, and I still wouldn't mind dropping a freestyle, but my mindset is like so different now. So that's the biggest thing. You know, I'm still a human, and you know, we have stages of life. So, you know, don't be mad if an artist doesn't want to or doesn't stay at the same stage their entire career. You feel me? It's like, you know, don't kill me for that.
They not gonna do that, girl. We ain't gonna do that. We loving what you've been putting out. I know I've been loving it. Anytime my lady vibes with something, it warms my heart because she don't like a lot of music, especially I'm talking about newer music. So and she vibes with you. So keep doing what you're doing. Any upcoming Lucy's outside of the Babyface record? What can we expect in like 2023?
2023 is gonna be so big. I'm planning a tour. But for me with the music, I'm working on something very special. That's all I'm gonna say, but it's very special for Chicago. So, you know, take that and, you know, hold it to your heart. I'm working on something special for the city.
What's special about it?
Ah, you working.
Oh man, it's a pleasure to see you again. I thank you for being genuine and supporting me in the beginning of my career. It meant so much. It means a lot. As you see, things is definitely transition, not just for me, but for you as well. I mean, introduce a single. Matter of fact, what single you want us to play?
For sure. Well, if anything, we gotta get Cater in there. Cater's been going off on radio for a long while this year. If you haven't heard it, it's off my new album, Pillowtalk. We got Cater featuring 2 Chainz, and it's a vibe produced by Hitmaka. Yeah. So let's get into it.
Hitmaka. Walk in smelling like Bun, I'm a Nina. Cater to me and I'ma make you Aquafina.